Good morning. At least here in the US, it's 6 a.m. Where I am living, it is 8 a.m. if I was living on the East Coast. It would be 5 a.m. if I lived in California. And hi, Elena Weiss. How are you? Elena?
Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you doing today? Fi- Fine. What do I call you? What is your name? Is it Elena Vize?
Mm, Ele-
Elena? Hello?
uh, Hello,
Hi.
can you hear me?
I can hear you part of the time. What is
I'm
your name?
I'm going
Yeah, you're
to
cutting
meet.
out. Okay. Hi, Ahmed. How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
So,
Holly. How are you doing?
really good. So, what beach is that at?
Sorry, I didn't get what you just said.
Yeah, is that the picture of you at the beach? Is that you at the beach?
Yes, that's me in the beach.
Okay, so which beach? Is it in Egypt or where is it in the
Yeah,
world?
it, it is in Egypt. It's called Marsa Matruh.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time at the beach or is it rare?
I love the beach, but only in the summer.
Oh, okay.
Just I
So,
take my holiday.
so what is the weather like right now?
The weather is warm, it's sunny,
Uh-huh.
and
Wow.
very nice actually.
Okay. Yeah. Elena Vize. Hello? See if you can speak yet.
Hear me?
Yeah, hello? Can you hear her, Ahmed?
No, no, I can't hear her.
Okay. Yeah, we can't hear you yet, Elena. So, yeah, I am using my new computer today.
I see you are in a different spot from the
Yeah,
one that you used to.
yeah.
Nice to hear,
The
by the way.
the computer that the computer I've been using, um, it has been giving the blue screen of death. And yesterday it worked fine. And after yesterday evening, I was getting ready for another class, and it said on there, actually, it says the Windows operating system is not authenticated, and then it would not open any files.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, and so I about 2 weeks ago I bought this new computer, and um,
Is it PC or laptop?
it's a laptop, and the other one is also a laptop, and it's a little bit nicer and a little bit more powerful, I think, or it's just that I'm used to it. But the this new laptop does not allow me to connect to a second monitor.
Oh,
Yeah. so so when if you have one screen, when you're screen sharing, that all you see is what you're screen sharing. So what I've done is that I've got the Google Hangouts on half the screen and the material on the other half, but it really cuts out what I see. so
that's really
so
strange.
yeah. So hopefully in the next week or so I will get a new monitor. Well, I'll get a new monitor a second monitor, external monitor, and get the correct cords. So
But if you work from home, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think a desktop will be very useful for you. Desktop
yeah.
because it's portable
I,
and can handle.
Yeah, I've used the desktop before. The problem with the desktop is it's not as versatile. So if I want to travel and take my work with me, I can't do it if it's a desktop.
No, this will be like a second choice. Like it will be there, but if something happened with your laptop, then you will go for the other option.
Absolutely. So it's important. We have when I bought this new laptop, I bought a second one. So actually, I have the old one that I'm going to get fixed again, and then two
Yeah.
more.
That's really nice.
Yeah, in this job, it's important to have a backup for everything. A backup for the headset, internet. And right now, my backup for my internet is to go down to the street to my mom's place. So Elena, can you speak yet? No, we don't. We still don't hear you.
I can't understand.
Okay, now I hear you. Can you say I can't? I heard you say I can't understand.
I said that, but now?
Now we
No.
hear you fine. Yeah. So Elena, where are you from?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you fine. Yeah. Hi, Aldona. How are
I'm
you?
from
Okay, and now when I saw your screen up, I didn't hear you speak. Aldona?
Hi, hello, teacher.
How are you
today?
Pretty
I'm
good.
fine, thank you.
Good. I have wondered for weeks about your little dog. Can you tell
I
me
know.
about him?
About my dog?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's not that small. It's 9 years old,
Okay.
but it's very cute,
Uh-huh.
and he doesn't listen to me much. He prefers doing on his own.
Okay. Okay, so he's an independent little dog. Okay. All right. Hi, Aratheli. How are you today?
Hi, doing great. How about you?
Very good. Very good. So what time is it now in Spain?
It's 2 p.m.
Okay, 2 p.m.
Mhm.
in Spain. Okay. It is 6 a.m. here. So this week I've decided not to do the nights and to teach daytime. So
6 a.m.
my daytime, yeah. Elena, can you speak again? Can you tell us what country you are from?
I'm from Poland.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and so we've got Ahmed from Egypt, Aldona and Elena from Poland, and Aratheli from Spain, and I'm of course from the U.S. Ahmed, what time is it right now in Egypt?
Time is 2 and 10.
Okay, so 2:10.
Yeah.
And how about in Poland?
In Poland is the same time as in Spain. So
Okay.
it's 2 o'clock. Whoa.
Okay. And hi, Ali. How are you? Ali, can you remind me where you're from? Is it Egypt or Saudi Arabia? Okay. All we hear is a sound. Is it from Aldona or is it from Ali?
No. Ali.
Ali, we hear a sound coming from your computer, but we don't hear you. Okay.
Oh? It's better now.
Not yet. It's better. He's muted. But Allie, can you speak? Okay. Yeah, we don't hear you. We don't hear you at all. So, anyway, okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the education system, and I love this lesson because what's fun about it is we get to compare the U.S. and the U.K. education system. And we also get to compare the education system with your country too. So, and that's what's really cool about this. Okay. Does everybody see the chart? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Ellie, can you speak?
Yes.
I hear voice. I hear something, but I don't hear your voice. Yeah, maybe increase your volume. No, that's all it's increasing is the sound of your computer. Sounds like you might have a microphone problem with your microphone. So, okay, let's go ahead and go over this. The UK, the US education system for ages 2 to 5. In British English, they call it nursery school or kindergarten. In American English, we call it preschool. And also another word that we use is daycare. Have you guys heard that one?
No.
But
Could
can
you enlarge it a little bit?
Yeah, I will enlarge it a little. One moment. Okay, bear with me a moment. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So in American English, we also have daycare for that age. The difference between daycare and preschool is daycare is actually from 0, from ages basically 0 to 12, and it is for basically babysitting. And many daycare centers will have preschools in it. That's in the U.S. Ages 5 to 11 is primary school. In American English, from 5 to 6, you're in kindergarten, or elementary school from 5 to 11. So it depends on the school district, of course. For British English, you have secondary school from 11 to 18. In American English, it's junior high school from 11 to 14, or high school from 14 to 18. And then once you're out of high school or secondary school, then you have university. And in American English, we use the word college as well. It's college or university. So that's kind of how it is in a nutshell. There's a lot of differences. For example, junior high years, some kids might go to a middle school as well, and middle school is usually ages 10 to 14, and junior high is usually a fewer ages. It's usually this says 11, but it's usually 12 to 14. So, and then there's a lot of variations on university and college in American English. So, can you guys describe the education system in your country? So we'll start. Araceli, can you just tell us about the education system in Spain?
Mhm. It's quite similar to American system, but I think the main difference is in early ages.
Mm-hmm.
Between 3 years old, maybe we could say daycare or nursery or something like that. So children between 0 and 3 ages,
Mm-hmm.
they can go to private schools, but you have to pay
Mm-hmm.
to take care of them. Most of what they are doing is babysitting, as you said before,
Mm-hmm.
like daycare. But when the kids are 3, maybe this is the main difference between our countries. When the kids are 3, almost all of them, I mean, it's not compulsory, but few families, maybe social disadvantages families don't take their kids to school, but it's something really strange. Many
Mm-hmm.
people think that when they are 3, if they are not at school, you are not following the law. It's not true. You can keep your kids at home until they are 6, but
Mm-hmm.
no one does. Maybe some people, but it's very strange. So the thing is that all the kids are at school at the age of 3.
Mm-hmm.
There is like a preschool. We don't call it that like that. We say like, well, there's a infantil or it's like elementary or something like that. It's like a preschool between 3 and 6. But this, and then at 6 they start primary school. It's quite similar. They are at primary school until they are about 12, and then they go to secondary school until they are 16 or 18. It depends if they want to go on with their studies, and then they are at college or university. But I think the main difference is between 3 and 6,
Mm-hmm.
because in many countries the kids don't usually go to school, but here if you don't take your kids to school, you are not going to find any school for them because all the schools are full with with little children. So
Uh-huh.
nobody is waiting until they are maybe 4 or 5. Sometimes the kids are not ready to go to
Mm-hmm.
school, but you have to take them anyway because
Wow.
you don't take them with when they are 3. You don't find any school when they are 4 or 5 to start their
Okay.
education.
Wow. Okay. That kind of sounds like and I've heard in New York, if people live in Manhattan in New York City, that from the time that the children are born, when they're babies, they are working on getting the kids into a daycare, not daycare, a preschool, which will help them get into the correct schools all the way around, all the way up. So, um, okay, uh, in Spain, Araceli, and then Alejandro's here. He's also from Spain. In Spain, do people go to school based on their address?
Yes, most of people, well, it depends in the public and charter system, which covers
Mm-hmm.
maybe 80-90% of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It, it depends on their address. But in the private system, if you have maybe some people go to private schools, not many, but then you don't have to, you just have to pay. You can live everywhere. But if you are going to go to the public or charter school, you have to live in the same area the school is.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Elena, I didn't realize you were from Spain as well. Um, Elena and Alejandro, Elena, you've heard everything Araceli has said. Do you have anything to add about the education system in Spain?
Well, I don't know because she has done a great description.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I think it's in secondary school we have two different stages.
Mm-hmm.
From 12 to 16
Mm-hmm.
is compulsory,
Mm-hmm.
and we call it ASO, compulsory education, secondary education.
Uh-huh.
Could be a translation. But then from 16 to 18, it's what we called bachiller. I don't know how can be translated.
Uh-huh.
And well, you can when you are 16, you can go to this stage, this level, or you can go to professional studies.
Okay, so I think that's similar to the Finnish system, and when they're about 16 years old, they have a choice whether they go on to what I would say is a university prep high school. And I have to use American English, or trade school. Is that what you mean?
Sorry, I hadn't understand you perfectly.
Yeah, in from 16 to 18, in Finland, they have a choice between going to a high school that prepares you for university, or you go to trade school, which prepares you for a job.
Yes, it's the same.
It's the same.
Yes, but most of the schools have the two levels. You don't
Mhm.
have usually you don't have to go to another school. Is
Okay. Yeah. Okay. In Finland, you do. You go to a new school at the age of, I think it's not 16. I think it's 15 there. So, um, but Alejandro, do you have anything to add about the school system in Spain?
No, mm, I am I am very old.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember when I went to school.
Okay. And I know that Araceli is a teacher, so that's why she could explain it so well.
yes,
Elena, are you a teacher as well? Or
yes.
okay.
I a secondary teacher, secondary
Okay.
school
Okay.
teacher.
So what subject do you teach, Elena?
Philosophy.
Philosophy. Okay. And then Araceli teaches maths. So awesome. Okay. Ali, can you speak yet?
No.
No. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. So sorry. So Poland.
Yes,
Aldona, can you tell us about Poland?
I think everything has been said so far. We have similar education system to British or to Spanish one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the age range is almost the same for kindergarten, primary
Mm-hmm.
school, secondary school, and university. And all these things are optional. I mean, you don't have to go to the primary school that from the place where you live.
Oh, okay. So you
Okay.
can go to private school?
Yes.
Okay.
You,
Do you have a choice? In the States, there's now something that they've had for about 20 years or more, homeschool. Do you guys have that option yet in your countries?
yes, as I know, some parents accept this kind of education, but I don't approve it because I think it's not a wise idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a child is among other children, it develops in a different way than when it's at home only with parents and
Mm-hmm.
they treat them.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's about socialization is what the concern is. Um, yeah, in the States, it's become actually quite popular among people who are very, very conservative or people who are very liberal. Um, My sister and her husband have considered it. Right now, their ages are 5 and 6, and 6-year-old is going to kindergarten now, and the boys will go to kindergarten next year. But they have thought that if the kids get into hobbies that are take a lot of their time, like and if their hobbies are to take a lot of time, they've thought about homeschooling them so that they can do their hobbies and homeschool at the same time. So, but that will be when they're like 12 and 13. So.
Do you have any regulation about that? For example, if the children are at home, they have to pass any kind of exams or something to make sure their education is good?
Yes, absolutely. The local school district has the kids to take tests usually, but also they have in the States they have something that's becoming very popular. There's two schools that are the most popular, but they're called virtual schools, and one is Connections Academy, and the other one is K-12. You can actually just Google it, and it's around the U.S. and they are free virtual public schools, and so the schools actually send them they have teachers, but everything is done virtually, like we're studying right now. So the kids have a teacher that the parents actually follow what they're doing. So it's starting to become very popular because the parents actually do the teaching, but there is a teacher that is also responsible for the child's education. So. My sister tried it last year with her daughter for K-12, but two things happened. They didn't get along, but also her daughter was not ready. So she tried kindergarten with her in January, and it lasted about 6 weeks. And she said, "No, I think I'll just put her in the school in September." So, okay, Ahmed, are you still here?
No.
Oh, he left? Okay. He was going to be the next country I asked about was Egypt. So we still have who's still here? Okay. Oh, all the guys left. Maybe they're not interested in education. So okay, let's go on. So Poland and Spain are very similar to each other, right? Okay. Let's go on to these vocabulary year. Vocabulary. I can't speak. So anyway, what else do you know about British and American education systems? Okay, so complete the sentences below. We've got A levels, which is British, public, which is different in American English and British English, comprehensive, revise, majors, school, principal, and sit. Let's go ahead and see if we can fill this out. Number 1, Araceli, can you read that?
The term, I think, is public. Public school has opposite meanings in the UK and US. In the UK, it refers to a private independent school. I didn't know that. In the US, it means a school that is funded by the state.
Yep. And the thing that's really funny about this is in the UK, the publicly funded school is called a state school, which is publicly funded.
It's important because we can make a mistake if we are speaking to a British person.
Yeah.
We say I work at a public school and they think it is a private school.
Yeah, So what you would say is you work at that you work at a state school. But do not say in the U.S. do not say that you work at a state school. And the reason for that is a state school in the U.S. is a mental hospital. Sometimes you might feel like you're working in a mental hospital, right? with your students.
Sometimes. Do you agree, Elena? Maybe school is like a mental hospital.
Sometimes, especially in spring.
Especially in spring, yeah. So, Aldona, are you a teacher as well?
Not now.
Not now, but have you been?
Yes.
Okay. So this is actually quite relevant for all of you. So yeah, so this is one thing that when I found out when I was in Finland, I found out that a state school in the UK is the public school. Yeah. So anyway, let's go on. Number 2, Elena, can you read that one?
In the UK. Comprehensive, I suppose, school refers to a typical state secondary school.
Yeah, I need to check that. But I believe that is right. So I need to check that just simply because I'm not British. So yeah, comprehensive is correct. Yeah. So yeah, comprehensive is also a state secondary school.
Teacher, could you also check the answer for the next question?
Yes, I will. So Aldona, can you read that one?
Yes, in the UK, the school leaving exams are known as, I have no idea how they call it. A-levels?
A-levels.
Yes?
Yeah. Yep. They're called the A-levels. And I don't know why, not being British, but yeah, but it's basically in other countries. I think maybe when your students are 16, do they end up having to take an exam, or when they're 18? Do they take an exam to leave?
They have to take an exam when they are 18 if they want to go to university.
Okay, that is called a comprehensive exam. Or it could also be a college, a university entrance exam. So in Finland, when the school that they went from 15 to 18, at the end of that, when they were 18, they would have to take a comprehensive exam, and that score would depend on their ability to enter a university. And so that's what I've heard it's called. In the U.S., we do not have a comprehensive exam for students to leave school. They just have to pass their classes. In order to go to university, though, there is an exam. But you can take that exam when you're 35 years old as well. So it has nothing. Or if you don't graduate high school, but you want to go to university years later, you can take the exam and go. So, okay, number 4. Araceli, could you read that one?
In the U.S., the person in charge of a high school is a principal. In the UK, it is a head teacher or headmaster or headmistress.
Yes.
I have a question too. How do you call it? The second person, I mean, here in our schools, the principal is the main person, but then there is another teacher or two teachers. They are called like head teachers or something like that. Spanish is like they are responsible for discipline mainly. So is there
Okay.
that figure in the U.S.?
And in the U.S., we have, it depends on the school, of course. Sometimes the person might hold both roles. It depends on them. But you have the top person is actually called the superintendent, superintendent of schools. And if it's a big district, they work in a district office. If it's a small school, they will actually be at the located at the high school, for example. The superintendent, and I think is that spelled right? I guess the superintendent is the top person. He works with the school board. He or she gets the funding for the school and things like that. Then you have the principal. Bear with me a moment. You have the principal, which is the person that is over the school discipline and also the teacher discipline. So we don't have, in the States, we don't have a head teacher system. It's usually just the principal. I remember in my high school we had our superintendent, and then we had the principal, and then under that we had counselors. So the counselors were, if you had any problems, you would go there to the counselor's office, and then they would escalate it to the principal. So
And
it does. Yeah.
yeah, what about head of studies? Do you use that expression?
No, we don't. No, but in some of the bigger schools, they might have what is called a department head. Department head, but that is I've heard department head mostly at the university level. Where, say for example, I got my first master's degree out of the Department of Linguistics, and so we had a department head that was in charge of all the professors.
We have department heads here too, in different departments. But yes, I think what Elena is asking the same thing that I said, but maybe there is no translation for this because you don't have this figure.
No.
It's like yes, jefe de estudios is like a middle in between a principal or a counselor or something like that. It's not the principal, but someone who is has directive role in the directive role.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I taught for a little bit, for about 4 years in Finland for a comprehensive school, and one of the things that I learned was they had these head teachers, and they don't have them normally in the U.S. So, do you hear music?
No.
No.
Okay, bear with me a moment. My last class, I got onto a weather site to talk about what the weather was, and you know how those websites, well, they have these advertisements, and then all of a sudden they'll start having the music will come on. That's what just happened. So I'm like, what's going on? Where's this music coming from? Okay, so number 5. So Aldona, can you read that one?
Yes. At an American university, a student studies or sit in a subject.
No.
No?
No, they majors in a subject. So if you talk to an American university student, a question you would ask is, you can ask, what are you studying? But you can also say, what is your major? which is what is your major, what is the major thing that you are studying, what are you studying? So, and the person might say, well, my major is business administration, or I have not decided on my major yet.
This is something I don't understand very well.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Spain, for example, I studied mathematics. So I decided when I was 18 I wanted to study mathematics, and I couldn't choose many subjects. Most of the subjects were in the degree of mathematics, so I couldn't choose. But I've seen that in the US, maybe in the two first years or something like that, it's like they don't have a
Mm-hmm.
they can choose a major, but they don't have different degrees and different. We have
Mm-hmm.
different buildings, different classes, different
Yeah,
for
and
different degrees.
yeah, and from my understanding of universities outside of the United States is each one of you, when you, first of all, it's very, very competitive to get into university outside of the U.S. In the U.S., pretty much anybody can get into university. Staying in, that's the difficult part. But one of the differences is when you got accepted into university, you got accepted into the school. For example, you, Araceli, you got accepted into the School of Mathematics, or as a major, or the school designed for mathematics teachers, right?
Yes, I have to
Yeah.
choose
Okay.
the degree.
Where so you actually tested and applied for that specific discipline. Where in the university, at the bachelor's level, which is the first 4 years of university in the States, you actually apply to the university itself, and you get in based on your grades and your extracurricular activities. And the first 2 years they call it general education. So you have to take a certain number of classes in a lot of different areas. You have to take English classes and math and science and so forth. It might be kind of what you guys do between 16 and 18. So for example, my freshman year, I was taking, my first year of university, I was taking classes with students who were actually going to be engineers or teachers or business people. It didn't matter. We were all just first year students. After that, after the first couple years, then you go into your discipline and you start studying that, only that. So the first couple years, the classes are much larger, and that's usually when students drop out of school as well. So it was interesting for me. I went in as my major was undecided, and I actually designed my major myself. With the help of professors. I combined 3 disciplines. 3 subjects basically, or 3 disciplines, and did that. I actually got, but I never declared my major until the end of my 3rd year, and the only reason I did that is because I got a letter from the university stating, you should be graduating next year, but we don't know what your major is. And so, but my situation was very unusual. Most people, what happens, the typical thing that happens for American students is they'll go to university and they will say, I'm going to be an elementary education major. And then after their first semester, they change, and then they say, I'm going to be a writing major. And then after another semester, they say, I'm going to be a business major. and they usually, the average person changes their major at least twice. So I think that's the reason they do it that way. Is it? Yes.
interesting because maybe you design, like you said, your own major, and maybe you can combine some disciplines that interest you. Here, the kids where they are maybe 15 or 16, they have to decide their degrees because they have to, before university, they have to do a different bachelor that is between 16 and 18. So they cannot change. For example, if someone who wants to be a doctor, they have to be sure about more or less when they are 16. Maybe they can change and become a biologist. But if they choose the wrong bachelor, maybe they can't study medicine at college. And then, of course, when you are 18, you have to be you have to go to the one you decided, so you have to be to make up your mind, and sometimes you are not accepted. For example, you want to become a doctor and then you are not accepted at medicine, so you can study something similar but you don't have a way. Maybe you want to study nursery or something, but you are not going to become a doctor because you didn't get into the right college.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's your system looks more flexible.
Yeah, it is a lot more flexible. And plus, like for example, if you want to get into medical school, a lot of people will do pre-med, but they might end up being a writing major and then decide at the end that they want to go into medical school. Then they start taking science classes and studies. So is it similar in our Aldona, in Poland, is it similar to the Spanish system or to the American system for university? Aldona?
Yes, it's similar to Spanish system.
Spanish system. Okay. Yes. Which is also similar to the Finnish system. And then in the what I was told in the Swiss system, they have to decide at the age of 15 as well what they want to do. They're very, very young as well. So, okay, let's go on. Number 6. Elena.
No, I wanted to say that another difference, I think, is here in Spain or in our kind of system. If you go to university and study just for 1 or 2 years, it has very little value. It's worthless because if you don't finish your studies, you have nothing. And I think, I'm not sure, of course, but I think in the US it's different. If you go to university just for a year or 2, that education has a value. Although you don't have the title, but it's an education you have, I don't know, inside you.
Yeah.
It's no point in going to university just for semester to semesters. If you don't finish, it's worthless.
I would say from my experience in the U.S., the bachelor's degree has very little value when it comes to the public sector. If you're a teacher or if you're in the education field, what you've studied is very, very important. But what happens is university students graduate, for example, with a business degree, and they think they can go out and get that first management job, but they end up in the same job as kids who just graduated high school. And the degree doesn't have as much value as you think. But the difference is if you are good and you're a good worker, you will get promoted much faster than those students who just graduated high school because you have a university degree. So unfortunately, the American degrees anymore, because it's so easy to get, is not valued. as much in for example in business. What if a person has an MBA and they have no practical experience? Also means nothing. So it's important for people to get practical experience. For example, my mom, when I was about 10, she finished her bachelor's degree, and she thought, "Oh, I can get a better job now," and she ended up with the exact same job she had before. So, but did that kind of answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, our degrees aren't anything. So anyway, Elena, could you read number 6?
Yes, when preparing for an exam, students in the UK revise what they have studied. In the US, they review for an exam.
Revise, yeah. And that one was new to me a few years ago. It's like revise. To us, you revise a paper. You change the paper. You edit. So, but for them, they call it revise. We call it review. Number 7, Aldona, can you read that one?
Yes, in the UK and US, students take exams. However, in the UK, they can also sit
exams. And that sounds so strange to me, but to sit an exam. So, Araceli, number 8.
Yes, I was thinking if the exam is PE, physical education, you also sit for that exam. I mean, you're...
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
I don't understand that. I never heard that. Okay, in the US, Americans can use the expression go to school even if they are at the university.
Yeah, it's the last one. So yeah, so the go to school even if they're at university, and we also, there's a difference for us between college and university is the same, where in British English college could be like the college could be part of high school or part of secondary school, or could be part of university. So their college system is, I don't understand it very well. So, but okay, it looks like we have about 5 more minutes. So these are pictures with the words below. So number 1, what is that? Can you guys see these pictures?
Yeah, a classroom.
Yeah, a classroom. Number 2. Anyone?
Cafeteria.
Alina? Cafeteria.
Cafeteria, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and number 3.
A common room, I guess.
It would have to be. Yeah. Yep. Number 4. Aldona. What would that be? Aldona, are you there? So, okay, maybe her microphone, or maybe she walked away. What is this, Araceli or Elena?
A playground.
Playground, okay. Playground. And number 5.
A science. Oh no.
It has to be a science lab.
Yes, but 7.
Yes, number
7 is a science lab.
Yeah.
And then 6 is...
Maybe 3 is library and 5 is common room.
That might be it. Well, let me look at the answers. Bear with me a moment. So 3 is a library, yeah, and 5 is common room. And I was thinking because they were all meeting together that would be a common room. So I don't a common room. We don't use that word in American English. So okay, what's number 6?
Assembly hall.
An assembly hall. In the U.S., sometimes we will have assemblies in the gymnasium, and other times we will have it in the cafeteria, and other times we will have it in the auditorium. So to us, an assembly hall doesn't really mean a lot. So, okay, number 8. What would that be?
A gym.
A gym, yes, or a gymnasium. And then number 9, then of course, is auditorium. And how is it in your schools? Do you guys have the same rooms, and are there any other rooms?
I don't know what a common room is, but
Yeah.
the rest, yes. We also have the teacher's room, maybe the gym, the labs, library.
I wonder if
auditorium.
a common room is the teacher's room. But I don't know.
Maybe we have an auditorium, or sometimes we meet in the gym. That's what you said. Depends on the school.
Yeah, definitely depends on school.
Or the library. Sometimes we meet at the library. Depends.
Yeah. Yeah. Aldona.
In my opinion, this cafeteria is too big. Yes, sorry, I couldn't answer.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion, this cafeteria is too big.
The cafeteria is too big?
It's too large.
Oh, really?
Yes. Look how many tables are there.
Yeah. It's funny because in my experience at high school, the cafeteria was bigger than the gymnasium. It was huge. First of all, though, in your schools, like for example in secondary school, how many students do you have?
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, maybe at high school 500, about that, maybe.
Okay. And how about Elena, is that your experience as well?
Yes, in my school there are almost 600
okay.
students.
And how about in Poland?
Yes, we have more or less the same number of students.
Okay, and that's the same.
400.
That was the same in Finland. I was told that the average secondary school has about 300 to 500 students. In the States, of course, it depends. If you're in a small town, you might have just a school of just 100 or 300 or something like that. But in the bigger cities, you will have like for example in Boise, where I live about an hour from. It's our capital city. The population is about 500,000 people. Or no, in Boise proper, it's 200,000 people, and they have about 4 or 5 high schools, and the average is about 1,500 students, 1,500 to 2,000 students, and each class has between 500 and 700 students in it. So that's probably why the cafeteria is larger. In Finland, it was like you guys said, uh-oh, I have another class. I just realized time flies. I would encourage you to download this worksheet, and because there's some idioms and stuff that we did not get to. So, and thank you for your participation and staying with it. So thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.